Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Billy and Joe Top 10 Show. I am Billy.
Hello, I'm Joe. It's been a
Uh,
while.
yes, it has. And since we've been gone, we've had a couple of deaths. But
Yeah.
I am Billy. You can go to keepingthenostalgialive.podbean.com. You can also go to Keeping the Nostalgia Live show on YouTube and find my shows, my podcast, and my shows, and of course, me and Joe's show. Joe, you can find Joe at Indie's Local Flavor at anchor.fm. You can find it on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud. You can also find mine on any platform that is out there. Amazon Music, iTunes, you name it. Keeping the Nostalgia Alive show is on that platform. Like Joe and I were saying, we hadn't seen each other in a while. That we'll get today's topic here in a little bit. But we did have a couple of deaths since the last time that we were around. One was Joe Morgan from the Big Red Machine,
Yeah.
two-time MVP, Baseball Hall of Fame member, and
Mhm.
professional arm flapper.
Yeah, when he would hit.
When
Correct.
getting ready to hit, a great timing test for when he hit. But Baseball Hall of Famer gone at the age of 77. We also lost Eddie Van Halen, of course, from
Yeah.
Van Halen. He was only 65. It's 77 is too young. 65 is even too younger, if that is the
Right.
way you say it, to lose people. But
Sure.
what are your thoughts on both Joe Morgan's and the loss of Joe Morgan and the loss of Eddie Van Halen, Joe?
Do you know the story about the beat, how beat it worked with Eddie Van Halen? Do you know that story?
I do not know that story. Share it.
Okay. Quincy Jones in '82 called the shots across the board. So, he worked with Frank Sinatra, he worked with Miles Davis, he worked with everybody. And pretty much anybody he wanted to reach out to, he could. So supposedly, he tapped into Eddie Van Halen for the guitar part to beat it, and I guess he didn't. He got Eddie's number from his agent, and he called him, but he didn't go through his agent first. So he called Eddie Van Halen, and Eddie thought it was a prank, and he hung up on Quincy Jones. So his manager calls Eddie back and said, "It's the real Quincy Jones, dude. You may want to pick up the phone." So
And,
that's how that worked.
and what a great solo and beat it.
Oh yeah,
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 yeah. It's always interesting too with Eddie Van Halen that it still boggles my mind that the first two people that were called to replace David Lee Roth, first was Daryl Hall.
yes,
And yeah, it would have been interesting to see that play out though. And then, of course, the
yeah,
next one was Patty Smythe from Scandal. And
yeah.
if she wouldn't have had to moved out to the West Coast, and if she would have liked to, if she wouldn't have had to move out to the West Coast, and Van Halen would have been based out of the East Coast, and if she would have liked to taste of beer, they may have been a thing. But then again, they may have only been together for one album, so you never know. Same way with Daryl Hall. So you make those decisions, and of course we had Van Hagar, and we had Eddie Van Halen. He would be sorely missed. It'll be interesting to see what they do with all the material that he had recorded. Hopefully,
Right.
we'll get to hear that and see that produced and put out there for the public to listen to and hear.
Do you have a favorite Van Halen song?
Uh, you know, I don't. I
Okay.
I could only say there's only one song that I dislike, and that would be "I'll Wait" from the 1984 album.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, there are albums that you can play from beginning to end, side A
Right.
to side B, and enjoy them thoroughly.
Mine is Atomic Punk. So really like that song.
Yeah, but good stuff, and of course, it's a little bit different for you and I because we grew up with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
65 is way too. You got people you need to call, tell them you love them today because you don't. Tomorrow's not promised.
You got it exactly.
So, and we didn't know anything about Joe Morgan. I mean, Joe Morgan,
No.
heard nothing about his health, But I loved watching ESPN Baseball Tonight with him also, and he did a good job calling games. There are a lot of baseball players that turned into broadcasters who aren't very good.
Yeah.
And but Joe Morgan translated very well into that. So But okay, so every time we have one of these programs, we let Joe kind of recap the day in the NFL. Of course, today is Sunday. My only 2 cents worth today is that I live in Houston. We
Yes.
couldn't cheat our way through to get into the World Series. Hopefully, that will be all behind us here in Houston in this upcoming year. But the Houston Nationals did play very well to make it, from one game from the World Series and kind of get that monkey off their back about that cheating scandal, which will stick with them for a little while because people just dislike that. It's like the Pete Rose gambling issues.
Right.
But then I did see where the Texans decided that it looked like they were going to beat the Titans, and that just wasn't the way.
No, they ran into who's the quarterback from the Titans? Ryan.
Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, ran into him.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy, man. Real tough guy. So
It's
yeah,
always interesting, though, where the quarterback ends up because he wasn't a very good quarterback in Miami.
no, but
So, it's all placed at where the pieces are placed and how well you do from the situation that's put around you.
yeah, exactly. And they've got a great running. The Titans have a great running back, and they're 5-0 now. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I kind of, and what's interesting is the coach of the Titans was one of the coaches here in Houston in the Houston Texans coaching staff. But he may have been the one that would have taken over if Bill O'Brien wouldn't have been fired. But now he's in Tennessee, showing that he has some coaching skills and putting together a pretty good team there in the Titans.
yeah, they're leading the NFC South right now. So there's a lot of football left, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
Did I see the Colts almost gave one away?
Oh man, first half for them was brutal, but yeah, they did the LO Cool J, don't call it a comeback, and beat the Bengals.
And what?
So
Anything else exciting today in today's matchups?
yeah, the Broncos upset the Patriots, and the Steelers smoked the Browns. The Falcons actually win; they beat the Vikings. The Bears beat the Panthers, and tomorrow. The game of the week, Chiefs at the Bills at 5 o'clock on Fox, and then the Cards and the Cowboys follow that up at 8 on ESPN.
Why is that game so early tomorrow?
Um, I think they're doing the flex schedule for the
Okay,
virus. I think.
okay, that'll be an interesting game because the Bills got a pretty good squad this year.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they really do. Their quarterback's on fire, Josh Allen.
yeah.
So, and then the Raiders beat the Chiefs last week. That was
Of
all.
course they did. Of course, I did not have Derek Carr on my fantasy football at that time. I decided to keep let's see who I get. Yeah, Philip Rivers against the Browns. So that was not very kind to me. So,
No,
what else? Anything else in the sports world you'd like to cover or talk about there, Joe?
I do have a funny story about the one time I went to Riverfront with my mom and my brother when I was a kid. You okay with that?
Sure.
Um, Me and my brother were big fans of the Phillies, and of course, we were fans of the Reds. And when I was a kid, and I'm sure you did too, we watched the Reds on WTTV Channel 4, and I can, name all the 9 players from the 75 and 76 Big Red Machine. So my mom got 3 tickets over to Riverfront, and that was still when Indiana was in the Twilight Zone. Their time didn't change. And we drove over there, and my mom had forgotten that Cincinnati was on Eastern time. So what ends up happening is we get over there in the corridor, and we ended up we missed the exit for Riverfront. So we ended up in Kentucky 3 times. We end up getting at the stadium, and it's like the 7th inning. So we run up in the, we have both have me and my brother both have our baseball mitts. We run up in the upper deck thinking we're going to catch a ball, and we still enjoyed the game. We got some pennants and some souvenirs, but we saw like 2 or 3 innings and had to come back to Anderson. I'm like, yeah.
Did they win the game?
Yes, yeah. So Phillies won, I think, with Mike
I loved
Schmidt.
Riverfront Stadium. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have a Red story? You ever heard the story?
No, I don't. The nice thing was is that both in '75 and '76, the Cincinnati Reds came to Indianapolis once, both of those years in '75, '76. So I got to see the Big Red Machine play exhibition games against the Indianapolis Indians, which were the AAA affiliate of the Reds.
Right.
But I got to see a lot of players that played for the Indians and went on down and played for the Reds. And I don't really have a Cincinnati Reds story. One of the items that I'm going to show you today is I got the opportunity to meet Pete Rose and have him autograph something from Busch Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is one of my items on my our top 10 list today. But we'll get to
Okay.
that. We'll get to that when we get to that. And speaking of that, today's topic is going to be our favorite 10 mementos or collectibles that both Joe and I own. So
Yeah.
this will be kind of interesting. We're not doing 20, are we?
No, no, no,
Okay, but this will be interesting to do. So once again, we welcome you guys to the Billy Joe Top 10 show, and today our topic is top 10 items or mementos or collectibles that both Joe and I own. I'm going to let you go first, Joe.
this is really a personal list for me. So I mean, I didn't, I've got sports signatures and sports pictures and everything, but I made this a little more personal. But my first one is a sports thing. Um, 30th birthday. This was in the opening game when the Colts played the Raiders September 4th, 2000. And that was with John Gruden and Rich Gannon and Peyton Manning and the Edge and Marvin Harrison. And for my 30th birthday, the Raiders came back and beat the Colts.
Oh wow, very neat. And that was that a handout there?
Yeah, at the RCA Dome.
Yeah,
So that was fun.
very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Is that autographed by anybody?
I wish.
Yeah.
No, no.
I wrapped ankles. I did a lot of stuff with sports medicine. I wrapped ankles for Broad Ripple after I'd graduated and been attending Indiana State University, and we had the
Hmm.
football. They had their football jamboree there one year as I helped with training and wrapping ankles and sports medicine, or stuff like that.
Hmm.
And my brother got to get Eric Dickerson's autograph. It'd have been neat if he'd had that towel back then.
Oh yeah, Eric
Yeah,
Dickerson was great.
yeah.
People always thought he was not a great runner because he stood straight up, but he'd smoke you.
Oh yeah,
He'd
yeah,
run right by you.
yeah.
So
Also, so my number 10 is this right here. This is Back to the Batcave from
nice,
Adam
nice.
West,
Okay.
and it is personally autographed
Oh, nice.
to Billy
Uh huh. I
from
see that.
Adam West.
Nice.
My wife got this for me, and of course, I think it's just been a year now that we lost Adam West. But I was a
Yeah.
huge Batman fan, huge Adam West fan. Believe it or not, Adam West was asked to take over after Sean Connery for James Bond 007, believe it or not.
I did not know that.
And he turned that down. So, but rest in peace, Adam West. A great item that I really love and enjoy, and personally
Yeah,
autographed to Billy. So, Back to the Batcave by Adam West.
that's one of a kind. So need to put that in the old safety deposit box. Um. Oh, you know, I've bought this next movie collection 4 times. 4 times. So, so I don't know how much the VHS copies are going for, but it would be the Star Wars movie collection.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I bought it on VHS, the
Yeah.
VHS expanded edition, and then the DVD and the Blu-ray.
Yep. Yep. Gotta love that. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
And each year they try to put something else different, and the Han Solo stepping on Jabba the Hutt's tail. You got to go buy it. And,
Right.
and now they have so much more to add to it. So, but
Yeah.
very cool. Okay, coming in at number 9 on mine. Of course, you guys know on keepingnostalgialive.podbean.com, most of our shows are about the game of basketball from the state of Indiana.
Hmm.
This guy here, up until last year, held the record of most high school victories at 806. It's Coach Jack Butcher, and Jack Butcher wrote a book called Butcher Ball,
Nice.
It's not just a game with a forward by Coach Bobby Knight. This is autographed to me from Coach Butcher,
Nice.
and it tells a little story in the beginning. But of course, I think he was passed by J.R. Holmes of Bloomington. He no longer holds the record of most Indiana high school boys high school basketball victories. But great guy, a great book. I don't know if it's out there on eBay or whatever, but it's called Butcher Ball. It's not just a game. So there's number 9 for me.
Okay. Number 9 for me. Um, I was thinking about doing a charity giveaway, but for whatever reason it didn't go through. But I did happen to get a hold of the first appearance of how Nick Fury lost his eye in World War II. So that's worth $1 or $2. So
And where did you get that?
my buddy Craig, Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos from 1960 something. But those comic books, when you look back at them, are Stan Lee when he wrote those were just, with the confines he had to write in, were really amazing.
Cool. Very neat. My number 8, if you can see right behind me, there is a picture of Wayne Gretzky, and it is autographed to me stating "Go Kings Go" to Billy Go Kings Go. A lot of you guys don't know this, but Wayne Gretzky walked the same hallways in high school that I did at Broad Ripple High School. He went there at night school because his first professional hockey team was the Indianapolis Racers, and he was only 17 years old. He needed to get his high school diploma. So he went to night school at Broad Ripple High School. So his diploma and my diploma are the same, stating that we got our high school education at Broad Ripple High School. So that's an autographed photo back there that I wrote. He sent it to me, and I will cherish for quite a long time and pass it down with my kids.
I did not know that. I did not know he went to Broad Ripple.
Went to
That's
Broad Ripple
pretty
High
cool.
School. So once I roll out David Letterman, I said, also, also the what's the the most the record holder for hockey. What's the greatest hockey player of all time? Of course, someone will throw me a curveball and tell me Gordie Howe, but we all know it's
Yeah, right,
we all know it's the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So
right. I found this at Indiana State when I was down there for a semester. I went into an antique shop. First print of Winnie the Pooh.
oh wow,
So yeah,
Winnie the Pooh, and the author.
A. Milne, I believe.
Yeah, they put out a couple of movies lately from Disney on how that's come about with Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh. Very interesting.
I used to have the album Storybook when I was a kid. So
Okay, so let me get to my number 7. 7. Hold on a second. I'm gonna take my headphones off so I don't pull them off. So, like I was telling you guys earlier, I had the opportunity to pay and go see Pete Rose. But it was worth it to me just because I'm a huge fan.
yeah.
But you can see my wife and I, Branch and I, there with Pete Rose, and then down the bottom is a picture of Busch Stadium, and in the middle is one of the last tickets, unused tickets from one of the last games ever played at Busch Stadium there in Indianapolis off of 16th Street.
Oh wow.
And Pete Rose autographed that ticket for me. So, I saw Pete Rose twice, of course, in Indianapolis, 75 and 76, and he was gone by the time that we went down and saw him. He was gone to the Phillies by the time that we got to go down and see him at Riverfront. But nice guy. He, of course, said, "Oh, that's right by the track." And of course, I'm thinking, are you talking gambling, really, man? So, but that's one of my favorite mementos or collectibles.
You want to hear my Pete Rose story?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Was he friendly with you when you met him?
Very friendly.
Okay. For whatever reason, one of my buddies said he could be kind of salty sometimes. So I'm like, okay. So me and my son, we had to pay, and we were going to go see him at the Collector's Den in Castleton. north side. And so, we're like, I don't know, 15th in line. And I just read like a couple weeks ago a story about him. And when I get in line, I said, and he had his agent next to him. It was Rose, his agent, and then George Foster. And then I said to Mr. Rose, I said, Mr. Rose, I read a article about you in 1977 when you got the National League MVP that you declined, the Cadillac, and you decided to take an AMC Pacer instead. So he's an older guy, and you see the wheels turning. And then he turns to his agent. He says, I did have an AMC Pacer. So he was all smiles, took a million photographs. And I said, Mr. Rose, for your time, I really appreciate your time. And he signed a Phillies photo where he said, "Go Cards" for me. And then I said, for your time, I please have this green Moneyball Sharpie. And he was great. And then I met Foster, and that was amazing as well.
Very neat.
My next pick for number 7, I found this at Ball State at an antique shop. I don't remember exactly what year, but I walked in there, and it was Man with the Golden Gun first print book by Ian Fleming.
Ah, very nice. You must be a James Bond fan.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Yeah. So,
very neat.
Those Blu-ray collections are a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan. Don't be mad at me.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean,
you're not.
A View to Kill and Octopussy were my favorite 2 movies.
Now, did you see that when you were at home?
Yeah, my mom wanted to know where we were going. I said I was going to see a movie. She said, I need to know what movie you're seeing. I said, nah, you don't want to know that, Mom. It's only PG. Well, I need to know it. I said, all right, Mom, it's Octopussy. It's what?
Did she ban you for a month?
No. But as you can see right behind me here, there is a Texas Tech basketball.
Oh, nice.
Victory number 880 from Coach Bob Knight.
Nice.
I got to know Bob Knight's executive assistant, Mary Ann Davis.
Cool.
She said, mail me the ball. I'll have Coach sign it for you, and I'll mail it back to you. So
nice.
That is one of those items, is that just the way that I got it, of course, the Pete Rose thing is very important to me, but, you had to pay to get it. This, I had a someone help me out, but I'm the one that did all the legwork to get it done. So
Sure.
that is on my list at number 6. Of course,
Cool.
we all know that Mike Krzyzewski took over the most wins in NCAA men's college basketball, but Bob Knight held it for a little while.
Right.
Yeah.
My next one, you can go out and buy these at any store, but they have a special value to me. I have, how many is it now? I have all the Coldplay albums and 145. So, but the difference when Coldplay does albums, they really do it to a deluxe version for their fans, that it's not just an album. They throw in a bunch of extras to make it really deluxe for their fans and collectors.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And you have all of them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I have another basketball related item. If you could take a look, it's over my shoulder here, right below Shazam and Pete Rose bobblehead, right to the right of the Keeping the Nostalgia Alive show. It's another autographed basketball from Bob Knight, but he has written on it his speech, "When my time on Earth is gone and my activities have passed, I want they bury me upside down so my critics can kiss my." So, and that I think is one out of maybe 700.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what number it is, but there was only 700 of them done, and my wife got that for me for Christmas last year, and another Bob Knight piece of memorabilia that I'll love and cherish.
Yeah. Did he do that at Assembly Hall? The speech?
That was at Assembly Hall while he was still coaching at Indiana University. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say that was 92 or 93. I may be wrong.
No, that sounds right. It was
Yeah,
early 90s.
yeah.
I do have a prop for this one. This gentleman is why I'm a Pacers fan. Black and white, glorious black and white. I met Mr. Billy Knight. My dad took me to the now closed Mounds Mall in Anderson at the Athletic Attic, which is now closed. They don't even have those anymore. So, because of Billy Knight, I'm a Pacers fan. I've been a Pacers fan ever since, even after the Ron Artest garbage. I was still a Pacers fan. So, um, the crazy thing about this is I used to have a scrapbook that I kept all my sports pictures in from the newspaper and magazines and whatever. This is the only thing left. That scrapbook is gone to
Wow.
the hands of time.
Wow. Looked like I saw Hondo there, John Havlicek, trying to guard Billy Knight there on that photo.
Yeah, right, right.
Love Billy Knight. Got to meet him at the U.S. Open Clay Court Championships in both '85 and '86. Great tennis player and great human being.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely without a doubt.
I've put this on Facebook before, but I have over here onto the right of here on my wall. I have Bang Tango's first album on CD and Bang Tango's second album on CD,
Mhm.
and all original members have signed both CDs. They
Nice.
had just gotten back together, and of course, COVID hit, and they're still waiting to get back out on the road. Someone Like You was one of their big, huge hits from 89, 90. MTV used to play it until they, played it till it was a hole into the hole in the ground.
Right,
But
right.
Mark Knight, one of the founding members of Bang Tango, gave me the opportunity for an interview, and I interviewed him.
Mhm.
Great guy, great band, and I hit those two things over there on my wall, which I'll put in the picture in the comment sections of our show, with all the original members autographing them. It's a fantastic piece that I love.
Nice. Um, oh, um, I have this. We've talked about this a couple times, but fortunately enough, when I was still working at the radio station, they made a picture frame for me, and I have a picture frame of the time I opened for George Carlin's opening comedian, Dennis Blair, at the now closed State Theater in Anderson. And that was probably the highlight of my radio career when I was doing that in 96, 97, 97.
Did you get George's autograph?
No,
No, didn't cross
no.
your mind.
Well, I got pictures, so
Right,
I'm
right.
cool with that. But I'm like, I'm you know I'm I tr- I do autographs if it's a show, but if I'm meeting somebody, I really don't do that because I want them to feel comfortable with me. So I
Oh, I
really
totally
do.
agree. I totally agree.
So
In the place that I work here in Houston, it's a high end area of town, and where a lot of
mhm.
athletes will live, and you try to give them their breathing space and stuff like that while they're in your
Yeah,
store. So yeah, totally agree.
yeah.
Well, up over my right shoulder, to just below the Hoosiers movie poster,
Hmm.
you'll see my third favorite item to have, and that is a set of Bobby Knight bookends.
Nice.
Yes, one of my favorites. I've got enough Bobby Knight books to put in between there. Currently, right now, there's a James Dean picture in between that. But The Power of Negative Thinking, My Story by Knight. There's plenty of books that I could put in there, but I love my numbered bookends of Coach Bob Knight.
Nice, nice. um, so here's where I get personal. Okay. Um, my kids are at the age where they don't take many pictures, so because they're teens. So um, I I don't have enough. So I would say, without a doubt, my number three is my kids' pictures. So There you go.
No, that's good. I probably have four pictures of my mother who passed away in '74. That she, I was born in '67. She died when I was about 6 years old, and I've got
Hmm.
about four pictures of those. And it's and time goes by so fast, and you're
Yeah.
always trying to get from A to B to C, and then
Yeah.
back to A, and just you don't have time for that, and it just and then when you're at work not doing what you really love, you're wishing your day away so that you get to go spend time with your kids or get to go spend time doing what you want to do, and you end up wishing most of your life away. So I
Yeah.
totally agree with the
Yeah.
photo thing. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, right behind me to the left of my head, you'll see a basketball photo behind there. I'm not going to yank it off the wall. But I love to do research about the game of basketball, and I came across a photo of Jimmy Carter playing for Plains High School, and I made a copy of it. I thought, what the heck? I'll mail it to the Presidential Library in Georgia.
Yeah.
It sent it there, and by goodness, about a month later, I received it back autographed from the former president of the United States, and probably one of our last honest presidents of the United States that we had.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, and but I would have loved to hear more about his playing days, but I think he just turned 96 or 97.
Hmm.
What an enduring, fabulous life that he's had. But that's going to be a piece that I'm going to hand down to my kids. Also, is the president Jimmy Carter in high school, and he autographed it for me too. So that's a nice piece of mine. One of my favorites.
And the other huge thing he did after his presidency was he's a huge piece of habitat to humanity.
Yes, making homes for those less fortunate, and just man, just it's a shame that he didn't win a second term.
Mhm.
Don't know what he would have been able to do in a second term. There were some shenanigans in getting Reagan in there, but I'm not going to talk politics on our show.
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
Billy and
Sure.
Joe Top 10 show, not Fox or CNN. So
You can see that every day.
exactly.
um, I'll make sure I open this correctly. Oh, I did. Okay. Here's the prop. The person on that would be on your right would be Joseph Carney Sr., who ended up being the chief of police for Anderson, I want to say in the 40s. And the person on my left is Nancy Carney, also known as Nancy Reinhardt, but her nickname was Baba because my uncle Tom came over from Russia. He was an immigrant from Russia, and the story as it goes, and I don't know his original Russian name, but when he came over from Russia and went through Ellis Island, they said, "You are now Thomas New Man." So he was given a last name called Newman. So anyway, um, my grandmother made Afghans for all her grandchildren. So that's like priceless to me. Mine's red, white, and blue. She did it on a 1976, the bicentennial year. So that's mine. I've got that in my storage locker. Totally priceless.
Yeah. Well, before I get to my, I think it's my number one, right? And that was your number two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my grandfather,
Uh huh.
Dalton Powell.
Okay.
And he died, of course, in '62. I was born in '67, so I never got to meet my grandfather. I've also got a picture of my grandmother over here, his wife, Myrtle.
Hmm.
But just I'm glad. My dad passed away about 3 years ago, and I got these back when I went back home to Indianapolis. Portraits of both Grandma and Grandpa Powell,
Yeah.
and glad to have them. Glad to hand them down to my kids so that
Sure.
they know where their grandparents came from and what their kids possibly may look like, and see that kind of stuff. But my number one, let me get it in here, is there you go, my Bob Knight doll.
Okay.
You can see him back there
Yeah.
by
Oh
Treasure
yeah.
Me Dolls by Tom Albers in Kendallville, Indiana.
Uh huh.
Very nice guy.
Uh huh.
But it's a porcelain doll.
Yeah.
And if you watch the Dan Patrick Show very often,
Yeah. It's on there.
you can see that he also has a numbered Bob Knight doll
Mm-hmm.
in his. And I kind of like, in my background, I have a bobblehead of myself. Woo, yep, egotistical. I have a bobblehead of, Larry Bird, Shazam, Pete Rose back there. But I am a huge Bobby Knight fan. Don't know how it got started. Don't know how it was. The Flames were fanned, but
Mm-hmm.
that is my top 10 list.
Nice. My grandpa and grandma earlier, that was from my dad's side. This next piece is heavy. Yes, I do have all my marbles. Um,
You have a shooter in there?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
if I can get the right angle here.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, here's a cat's eye.
yeah.
So this is on my mom's side. My great grandfather, we would drive 5 hours south to Burnt Prairie, Illinois, and my great grandfather, Miles Ernest Funkhauser, was a principal. And the school system down there really
Did,
small.
did you say Funkhauser?
Funkhauser, correct.
We want the funk. Gotta have that funk.
Parliament,
Do do do
yeah,
do.
before Parliament. So we would drive down there. It was fascinating because he had this, wow, 3-bedroom house. I guess all the food was homemade from scratch, and what he had was he had this. I think it's a Depression era game, and it's similar to pinball. You would pull a plunger back, and it would have this metal ring around this board, and you would try to make the marbles go the farthest without hitting the opposing marbles. And then if you hit the opposing marbles, it was the next person's turn or whatever. But the craziest story I have about going to the farm in Burnt Prairie was I was probably 8. And I remember this like yesterday. I was wearing the Amazing Spider-Man shirt. And this tick this big crawls up my arm, and my grandfather saw it, and in one move went crush with his thumb, and I was like stunned. I was so impressed. I was totally stunned. But yeah, that was my grandfather. We called him Ernie. That was my grandfather, great grandfather on my
Yeah.
mom's side.
Well, that's a cool list, Joe.
Thank you, thank you. You too. You too.
Well, not to keep it a secret, next week we're going to do the top 10 places that we've traveled. Is that correct? Our top 10
Sure.
places
I
that we
didn't
like to
know.
travel. I thought that
I
was on
didn't.
our list
I didn't know that, but I'm good with that. Sure, of course.
with no bonus picks.
I if you want to limit me and put me in a box, that's fine.
All right, Joe, tell everybody about what your Indies Local Flavor is about, where they can find it, and tell us a little bit about what your show encompasses.
Well, I want to say 2 thank yous. First of all, I just passed 650 listens, which is great. And I just picked up listeners in Canada, and I was totally shocked when I found out Singapore is on board. So my podcast right now is mostly sports because it's NFL season. So me and a couple of buddies, we do the NFL, and we do fantasy football. If there's any pressing, we also did a tribute to Eddie Van Halen. We did a tribute to Joe Morgan. And then if there's any other sports news, we talk about that as well. So, and I'm on, like we talked about earlier, I'm on Anchor, I'm on Spotify, I'm on iTunes, which is the biggest audience for me, and then I'm also on iHeartRadio.
You can catch me and Joe's show on YouTube. Just search in there, Keeping Nostalgia Live show. You can subscribe to our channel. There's a lot of stuff on there. Please also go to our Facebook page and like us. Our shows hit there first before it hits the YouTube channel, but you can get a kind of a get to see us first on our Facebook page. But the Billy and Joe Top 10 show on Facebook. We will be back next week. Thank you guys for listening. Please head on over to keepingthenostalgialive.podbean.com also for all of our podcasts. Joe, once again, it's always been a pleasure, and I look forward to talking about our favorite places that we've traveled to next week.
Oh, I can't wait. It was a fun time, Billy. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, my friend.